In the field of chronic pain and symptom recovery, people are often told that healing can take significantly long, that they should be patient with their recovery process, and that it takes considerable time. There's a good reason why we sometimes say that, because rushing the healing process can really work against you. However, in this video, I'd like to challenge the commonly held assumption that healing from any symptom can take significantly long. What if this belief that it's going to take long is actually what's blocking you from making further progress? So if you've been finding yourself believing and assuming that your recovery journey is going to take long, hang on in there for a minute, because I'm going to share some interesting insight with you as well as some helpful tips for recovery. When it comes to mind-body healing, we're essentially acknowledging that mind and body are one unit and that what goes on a mental level is affecting the body on a physiological level. This is slowly but surely becoming common knowledge today. We know that various stressors and emotions cause specific symptoms in the body, and if these emotions are too negative, if there's too much pressure and distress in someone's life, this can lead to real physical symptoms like pain and other debilitating symptoms, which can become chronic. And they usually become chronic because of two things. One of them is because the source of the stress is ongoing, so the person is replaying these negative emotions day in, day out, sometimes unconsciously. And the other one is because of the beliefs we form with regard to our body and with regard to the progression or regression of our symptoms. So as you might know, if you've already been into the TMS world for a while, if you know something about neuroplastic pain, what we have to do first in order to start the recovery process is to start believing that we can actually get better, that the body can change, that we can heal. That if we can heal our emotional state, or let's say improve it, then our physical state is going to improve as well. So that implies letting go of blaming anything permanent for causing your pain. And as we know today, a lot of physical imperfections, a lot of past injuries, even injuries that might have caused certain changes in the body, they are usually not the cause of the pain that you have today. Because chronic pain that persists for over 4 months, that seems to have acquired a pattern in your life and that is recurring, it is due to something other than a specific injury or abnormality in most cases, right? And this will be true for you if you've been medically examined already, if you've tried different therapies, different treatments already, and nothing has alleviated your pain or symptoms. Healing actually starts with entertaining this new belief, the belief that you can change your body's physical state. Now, there are two other beliefs that tend to hold people back from making a swift recovery. And one of them is that healing the mind can take long, in the sense that people start to realize how much their traumas have affected them, how much their past experiences have affected them emotionally, and they start to feel broken because maybe they are prone to feeling anxious, they are prone to having fear-based thoughts, depression maybe. So there is that belief that although they know that their physical symptoms, their TMS, is being caused by these emotional factors, they still deep down believe that they are too emotionally broken to heal. And that can be a limiting belief in itself. Because in these cases, people will go on a long journey of trying to resolve all of their traumas, of trying to heal all of their traumas. And although it's a very good intention to do this, usually when we chase trauma healing in that way, what we are doing is we are affirming to ourselves on the daily that we are somehow broken, that we need something to release this trauma, and that until, this happens, then we are going to keep on feeling the symptoms. And besides that, because of course we carry around certain significant traumas that have shaped our life and our beliefs and so on, then we might believe that this process will take really long. Now, there is some truth in that, because if you really want to heal yourself from all the traumas that happened in your life, well, yes, of course, it can take long. It's a process, and I don't really believe that we can kind of 100% heal every trauma, right? But what we can do instead is entertain the belief that it doesn't need to take long for us to feel better about several things and to feel better in the body, just by allowing and accepting the fact that we have been traumatized, that we sometimes feel certain emotions, and by ceasing to believe that we are permanently broken, then this in itself can initiate a mindset shift. Because what trauma does to us is that it makes us more likely to get triggered under specific situations. So we might notice that we're getting triggered very often, and it's fine to take therapy for that and to work with these triggers. But it's still happening in the moment, right? So what's happening is you get a trigger and then you get specific symptoms. Some of them kind of more mental, like anxiety, even though that's still expressed physically in the body. And some of them more physical, like muscular pain. But the thing is, everything is still happening in the moment, and you still have some sort of control over what happens in the moment. So rather than getting too focused on healing whatever happened in the past and on diving back into the past and trying to get, the picture right, trying to rewrite the past, you can actually focus on seeing your triggers and your responses to the triggers as present moment responses and not as a permanent state, a permanent broken state that you're in. So this in itself will start to undo the belief that healing emotionally is going to take long. The other common belief with regards to healing progression is that in general it will take long for your symptoms to subside. So this belief relates more like physical TMS symptoms, the symptoms that we are so familiar with, like back pain, neck pain, tension, migraines, dizziness, all of the other TMS symptoms. And because we maybe have heard certain recovery stories from people who have taken years to overcome these symptoms, then we assume that it's going to be the case for us as well. We assume that we have to kind of sit back and be patient and allow, the healing process to unfold over a number of months or years. And although it's good to be patient, because trying to rush the process means that you're too desperate and too urgent, and that creates stress. So that's definitely not the right way to go about it. So although it's good to be patient, you have to be very mindful of the belief that you are feeding to yourself when you're thinking that recovery is going to take long. Because in TMS recovery, the expectations and the assumptions that we make are almost everything. So if we assume that an activity is going to cause symptoms, it's likely to cause symptoms. If we assume that our healing is going to take a long time, it's going to take a long time. So what I'm trying to encourage you to do in this video is to maybe check in on your assumptions. And if you believe that it's going to take a long time for your back pain or sciatica pain or whatever to get better, maybe start to question that assumption, right? And I'm going to give you an example from my own life where I realized how fast and quick healing from TMS symptoms can be. So there was a time when I was suffering from elbow tendinitis, so pain in the elbow here, which I first attributed to a climbing injury. And because I do rock climbing, I Googled it, and a lot of people were saying that it's a very common injury for rock climbers to have. Already there was a belief planted into my mind that this was a an injury I was prone to getting. So already I was getting further away from accepting that this is a mind-body condition. And to make matters worse, everyone was saying that this elbow tendinitis can take several months and up to 2 years to get better. So of course, again, I kind of got that suggestion and moved further away from the healing concepts that I was so used to and that I was already teaching. So I spent a few months with this tendinitis pain, with this elbow pain, because I was in a state of believing that maybe the climbing had caused it and that maybe the others were right. It is an injury that takes long to heal. And for as long as I entertained those beliefs, I could almost see no progress at all. Until one day, I noticed something a little bit different. I was distracted that day. Well, actually, the day started out really badly. I remember just sneezing in the morning and feeling this shooting elbow pain. And I felt like it was getting worse and not better. So after like 3 months, it felt worse, not better. So I was starting to wonder now whether it was really all a mind-body problem, because I knew that if I'd really been injured, usually injuries that are not really serious will heal on their own after a couple of weeks, and this seemed to be getting worse. Besides that, on that same day, we went to visit someone in hospital, and we found ourselves in a ward full of very, very sick people, people who were close to passing away, unfortunately. And in that moment, my perspective obviously changed. I was, in this state with these people, knowing that they are about to transition to pass away. And I obviously forgot all about my minor elbow problem. And I kid you not, I went out of the hospital and my elbow pain was totally gone for that moment. And I was like, okay, so this is TMS. So that's always the first step. The first step is to recognize that your pain is a case of neuroplastic pain or TMS. To recognize that it's changing maybe sometimes depending on your emotional state, and to move away from blaming external circumstances that you cannot control for causing your pain. So in my case, I was blaming rock climbing. I was blaming an injury as such, when actually it was not true. My pain did return a little bit the following days, but now I knew better. Now I started to question the belief that I had taken in that this tendinitis is going to take long to heal. And I started to assume differently. Maybe a couple of days after I did this, if not actually the next day, my elbow pain was totally gone. So isn't that interesting? So I spent practically 2-3 months seeing no progress at all, actually having my pain get worse rather than better. And then because of this one mindset shift that day, this change in assumption, this allowing myself to believe that healing need not take long, I made almost overnight progress. And this is what I wanted to really drive home in this video. I wanted to let you know that your assumptions really dictate the speed of your progress. And I've seen so many people, including certain practitioners these days, who are emphasizing the fact that, recovery is a long process and you have to be patient and accept that it's a long process. But I want to challenge that because it's not necessarily true. Yes, it is a little bit of a process in the beginning until you understand how TMS works and until you firmly believe that your symptoms are a case of mind-body syndrome. And this is why it takes long for so many people. It's because they're still stuck doubting. They're still not fully accepting that belief, accepting that their symptoms are mind-body. They're still going back and thinking, oh, but maybe it's an injury, maybe it's an imbalance, and so on and so forth. And that's why they don't make progress. I can almost guarantee with every individual there was a day or two when they started having certain insight, and when you have that insight and when that belief changes, progress can be very rapid. So think about it. Question your assumptions. No, healing need not take long. You don't have to rush it, in fact don't, but at least entertain this assumption and see what happens. So let me know what you think in the comments, guys, and if you'd like more guidance to understand how TMS works and to boost your confidence that your symptoms are really TMS, then I encourage you to check out my online recovery program, Pain-Free Breakthrough. I'm going to put the link in the description. And in the program, you'll also be guided to explore different concepts of TMS, different aspects, and to really self-reflect on your own situation so that you can identify your own stumbling blocks. Okay, so that's all from me for today. I wish you a lovely week ahead, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.